If you're looking for an easy way to water your plants without drip irrigation, then you might want to check out Ollas.
I've got 3 different brands and sizes of Ollas, and they are an ancient watering technique or device. It is basically a large terracotta pot or vessel that is porous, and you bury it into the soil and you fill it with water, and the idea is that the water will seep out into the soil as the soil dries out or as the plants need it. And what's really great about the Ollas is that because it gets buried, it waters plants more deeply at the roots where you really need it. This can actually help you save water because if you're watering them from the top, you have to use more water for it to go down all of the layers of soil to properly hydrate your plants. Ollas are a great option if you don't have drip irrigation for whatever reason. I don't because I have large amounts of slab leading to my raised beds, and so I can't bury the main lines, so they would just have to be out and it would be a huge dripping hazard. As I mentioned earlier, I have 3 different brands or sizes of Ollas. I got this one at the Plant and Pottery Outlet in Sunol, California. You might be able to find one of this size at your local nursery, but this one cost me $15, which is a great bargain for the size. But at other nurseries where I've seen similar Ollas, they ran in the $30 to $40 price range. Here is a smaller Olla. This one holds 16.9 ounces of water, so about the size of a standard water bottle, but it's generally about $10 from this brand back to the roots. It is pretty small, like I said, but it's not bad if you need it for a small container or a smaller area. And the packaging on this one says that it has 18 inches of diameter coverage to support 2 large plants. And then I have one from this brand here called Grow Olla. I won this in a giveaway and it comes in 3 different sizes, small, medium, and large. This is the medium. And on the back of their box, they have a size guide so you can kind of figure out what size might work best for you or the growing area that you want to put an Olla. And going back to this first Olla, I believe the signage said that this one would extend about 2 feet. To demonstrate, I'll use a smaller back to the roots Olla because I want to put these smaller ones in this raised bed since the raised bed is also small. So I'm digging a hole right where I want to place the Olla, and it does need to be a pretty deep hole because you want the entire thing to fit inside and you're going to bury it up to the neck level. So it looks like I need to dig a little bit deeper. Oop, there goes the cap. Okay, let's see here. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and gently bury this, making sure that I don't accidentally hit and break my brand new Olla. And I'm just going to bury it right up to about the neck level. Just right about here looks pretty good to me. And now it's time to add the water. So I'm going to fill it up all the way to the top here. Oop. I can probably top it off a little bit more as it settles. Yep, there we go. That looks pretty good. And now I'm going to put the cap on. Since the soil is pretty dry, I expect the water to leach out pretty quickly here, so I'll see what it looks like in just a little bit. And it's only been a couple of minutes, but you can see that the water is starting to seep out a little bit, so that's great because it means that it is working as intended. And you might be thinking, couldn't I just make one of these myself? And the answer is yes, you absolutely could. You could get terracotta pots from nurseries or even craft stores really cheaply. However, I do think that actual Ollas are made a little bit stronger and made to last, so they might not crack as easily. But if you are on a budget and need a lot of Ollas, this is not a bad option. So you would want to get a saucer as well, and if there's a hole in the bottom, then you'd want to plug it up with something like epoxy glue and then use the saucer as a lid, and then you would bury it in the soil just like an actual Olla. I have also seen people take 2 terracotta pots and then they would glue them together around the rim, and then they would just plug up one hole on the bottom, and then they would fill the top hole with water that way. So yeah, you definitely can make your own Ollas. Another option that might be more affordable are these terracotta watering stakes. They're really the same idea as Ollas, except they're stakes that you can take a bottle of water to and flip upside down. A lot of people will use wine bottles because they can hold a decent amount of water. I'm just going to use this empty bottle that I have here to demonstrate, but you just fill it with water, flip it over quickly, and insert it into the stake. This could be easier to see when you need to add more water by just looking at the level in the bottle if it's a clear bottle. The only caution I'd want to take is things like these glass water globes, which are also kind of the same idea, have been known to burst into flames in extreme heat. So if you're going to use glass bottles, use them with caution. Speaking of seeing where the water levels are, going back to traditional Ollas, I do think one con about them is that it can be hard to see inside how much water is left. But an easy way to check is to take a dry stick and put it inside so you can see where the water level is at. This is one of my other Ollas that I already put in a raised bed, and you can see here that it's nearly empty because the end of the stick is barely wet. But when in doubt, you could just fill it up. Between traditional Ollas, the DIY Ollas, or the terracotta watering stakes, I'm going to stick with the actual Ollas because they're easier, they're less cumbersome, they look better, and they won't burst into flames.